But thank you for joining us today. I'm so excited to start learning and chatting with each of you. To start us off, can we go around and talk about how each of you got involved with CF? Let's see, Joey, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I actually started my career off at a local agency out in Des Moines, Iowa. So I've always been an advertising nerd, but in about 2018, I decided to make the move up to Seattle, which is where Copacino is based. Interviewed there and absolutely love the work that they do, the things that they stand for in the community. And it just felt like a really great place that I wanted to be involved with. The clients are all awesome. We get to do some local work, we get to do regional work, we get to do national work. So I get to really touch all sorts of the fun parts of this business.
That's so great. Katie, you're next.
Absolutely. I have a little bit of a less clear path into advertising. I did undergraduate and graduate work in public policy and public administration with a lot of focus around really understanding different groups of people and an interest in sociology. And then made my way to the advertising world and joined Copacino Fujikado as a research analyst, dealing with a lot of audience work and focus around reporting for our campaigns, and then moved into a strategy role where I really dive into making sure that we understand who we're talking to and how we're talking to them, and feeling like that's a really important part of advertising, especially these days. We're really having conversations with people and making sure that those are meaningful and resonant and not off-putting. So it's something that I'm really passionate about and really enjoy kind of that deep dive at the beginning of our work to help our other team members figure out how that they're going to create all the wonderful ads that we put out there for clients.
I think that's wonderful, and you're so right. You know, advertising is one of those niches that truly does not work unless you know who your audience is. And while that may have been true for quite a while with the ad agency life, I feel like it's becoming more and more top of mind as for companies that would need that advertising. It's something they may not have had to really consider before.
Absolutely.
Caroline, what about you? Oh, I'm sorry, Katie, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No problem.
Caroline, how about you?
Thank you. Let's see, where do I start? I came up in advertising in Minnesota. Started off at Fallon and then made my way to Carmichael Lynch and Cole McVoy. If you're in the ad world, those are familiar names, but I am absolutely in love with the Olympic Peninsula and the North Cascades. And so I knew I had to end up in Seattle, and I was able to finally break in about 3 years ago at Copacino, and I've been having a blast ever since, making ads of all kinds. I'm a big believer of creating change from within a broken system. And like many of you, I grew up hating ads. I thought advertisements were terrible. Never saw myself in them, never saw a lot of my friends in them. So that's always been a big part of what drives me to be in advertising, is to change it.
I absolutely love that. I think that's a really important message to share with people. So thank you for sharing that with us. All right, so I want to start jumping into some of the things that make Copacino unique. Can we maybe detail just a little bit about what CF does? I know we talked about it a little bit in your intros or in your bios, but what have we missed in that description? What is something else that the audience should know about y'all?
Yeah, both of them put their mics on mute, so I guess that's my cue. Copacino is, like we said, is a small independent agency out in the Pacific Northwest, which means that we really get to do a few different things. We we get to create and wear all sorts of different hats depending on, regardless of which position you come to the agency in. We've had interns make huge calls at the agency in terms of, if there wasn't representation in an advertisement or a campaign. We've had, those folks raise red flags for us if they see or notice something that isn't happening in the work. So in and of itself, being at a small agency allows us to do so many cool things that we wouldn't necessarily be able to accomplish, say, at a bigger agency or kind of a different structure. One of the other things that I know Katie had mentioned, or was mentioned in Katie's bio, was that we were able to form this DEI group called EDGE, I believe 3 years ago. And this group has taken all sorts of different shapes and missions and drives. I want to say it was birthed out of the, which movement in 2017, 2018?
It really came out of the Me Too movement. We at Copacino, the Fujicado of Copacino Fujikado is Betty Fujicado, who is a trailblazer in the advertising world as a really powerful and inspirational and just sort of transformative woman of color within advertising. And she really drove us to think about DEI coming out of the Me Too space, but also moving into a lot of other areas of diversity and inclusion that we saw starting to evolve and really taking on more prominence within the business world coming out of those times. And I think that Joey's absolutely right to point to that as something that has felt really meaningful within our company, to be able to have the opportunity to focus and spend time and work through a lot of these issues that are becoming more and more important every day within our world.
I absolutely love that. And so that kind of helps lead me into my next question for y'all. So Katie, you had said that you had kind of an indirect path to advertising. I have a similar kind of just wild, all over the map career history. So I very much appreciate kind of the unique perspectives and interests that you can then bring to the table, which I think is just so wonderful. As a personal question, not personal for you, but something I've been wondering about. Obviously, I don't know much about advertising despite my varied career history, but I'm really curious to find out, in your opinion at least, CF seems to be a very not niche marketing agency, but not like some huge giant unwieldy company. Do you think that positions you in the market to be able to be more picky and more not even picky, but more like intentional about like you want to take on clients who believe in your goals and your mission as well? Or is it something that, like, as a starting company or a smaller company, you kind of have to take what you can get and do the best you can with it? Sorry if that's a roundabout question, but I'm interested to hear your opinions.
Well, I'll start this off and then I'm going to kick it to Joey because he is our new business guru. So he'll, I'm sure, have some interesting thoughts about it. I think that the independence of our agency allows us to engage with a lot of different kinds of clients, from really small ones doing some amazing pro bono work and really helping people get things off the ground, to bigger clients where we can have large impact in places and in conversations like this one around how we can really incorporate representation in a way that's meaningful, or what are some of the areas that we really need to be careful of and watch out for, or how do we bring different voices to the table in a way that makes sense and connects really well with the brands that we're representing. But that being said, we're a business and we're always looking for clients and we're always wanting to take on work. So I don't think it's pickiness. I think that there is just a lot of opportunity to enter into projects large and small, to be really nimble and flexible and think about how we can bring a lot of value to our clients.
I love that. It sounds very similar to the way PowerToFly operates, where we take on both like companies and brands that need some help and know that they need help and want to really work towards that goal. But we also partner with brands that are already doing a great job, because there's always room for improvement. Even within our own organization, there is always something we could be doing better. So I absolutely love that. Thank you, Katie. Joey, did you want to chime in on this?
No, I think Katie did a good job. I know Caroline, we have a Teams chat. Was there anything you wanted to throw on to that, Caroline?
Yeah, thank you. I like DM'd Joey. I was like, I have something to say. When
Perfect. Please sing out. I absolutely want to make sure this is a free and open conversation between all of us, or among all of us. Sorry.
Totally. When I was interviewing out here, one of the things that made me choose Copacino over one of the other ad agencies in town is this like 8-word mission statement that we've had for a long time, and it's have fun, do great work, make a difference. And we choose clients who also believe in those things, and so it creates an atmosphere where we always go above the fee. We work with our clients. We have over 20-year relationships with some of our clients. And so, and as Katie was saying, there's no holding company telling us what to do. And it's so liberating, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, I've always said, like, now that I'm here, there's no way I would ever go back to one of the big ad shops again. No offense to them, they're great. I just love the freedom that we have to do not whatever we want, but a lot of creative freedom here. Like these are our pride backgrounds. You'll notice there's a CF logo on all of them, but that was just an idea one of us had in the DEI group, and the art director made them that day, and then I showed up to our agency meeting on Monday, and everyone had the pride backgrounds on, and it was just so supportive and heartwarming to like sign into an agency meeting and see 40 people all with these pride backgrounds. Like, that's the kind of supportive environment that I want to work at.
That's absolutely lovely. I can very hard relate to that, coming from, like I said, a lot of really weird jobs where, things like equity and diversity and inclusion and belonging were not, it's not that they were like actively fought against, but it wasn't core to the company's mission. And I didn't realize how absolutely exhausting it was to work at companies like that until I came to PowerToFly. And where, something that I truly believe in is part of the mission statement and is absolutely the driving force behind what we do. I mean, I work harder here than I think I have ever worked in my life, and that's saying something, but like, it's so much easier. It's so much easier when you are not constantly swimming upstream. So I completely understand the idea of like really being able to like bring your best self to work and do the best work you can. Do all, like, explore all kinds of stuff, take crazy chances, because you have the freedom to do that. And I absolutely love it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So not to focus too much and pressure Caroline into talking like this whole time, but I did want to highlight something that I had seen on your website. So there was, y'all have that LGBTQ+ guide for brands, and Caroline, your quote on there really kind of spoke to me. It says, you had said, as a queer person in advertising, I continually see my community asking brands to do better, which really harkens back to what you told us about your background. So how do you see those brands doing better? Like, can you kind of expand on this for us?
Yeah, definitely. And we'll get into that too with some of the Pride Guide updates, but especially this year, I've seen more companies than ever use, not just using a Pride flag with the standard rainbow, but they're also making sure to use the Progress Pride flag. And people are being a lot more intentional about putting pronouns in email signatures, about using they them pronouns in their ads, about having actors who maybe their gender isn't obvious and it's not the focus of the ad as well, which I think is a really important part. And so how the Pride Guide came about was we were all sitting there going, well, we have a unique point of view here. All of us, those of us who identify as queer at CF, we live in both worlds. We live in the advertising world and we live in the queer world that's constantly saying, why are these marketers always getting it wrong? And we realized there's no guide. So we made one.
I absolutely love that. And you make a very important point, right? That visibility it's so crucial, and it's such it's such an important step, but not just the visibility, right? It's not, you don't want to position these representations of other communities in an othering kind of way. You don't, I mean, I'm 35. I am sadly old enough to remember a lot of the 2000s and the 90s and how toxic all that garbage was in the culture. And oh my God, it was awful, especially in America. But like, I remember when Campbell's Soup and Cheerios caught huge flack for, oh my word, daring to show same-sex couples and their kids, or I remember when there was an absolute uproar because Ellen was going to be the spokesperson for JCPenney. Like, and these, I'm not even in advertising. I try not to like really consume a ton of this because it's not great for my mental health, but like, I still remember these things.
Yeah.
You can't do this as a, not necessarily a freak show, but like, as that's the draw. You can't do this as a, oh, look, we're doing so good. You see that we're doing good? In case you didn't see, we're doing so good. There you go. Like, you can't do that. And it makes me so happy to see people, like truly people from like the country being represented, not just whatever we've assimilated into, okay, that's normal. Mom, dad, white people, 2.5 kids, picket fence, blah, 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 blah. That's not the country we live in. So I can't agree with you strongly enough, honestly. All right, so let's talk a little bit about that style guide. What are some things that y'all have suggested that companies should start including in their marketing campaigns if they haven't already? Who would like to jump on this first?
Yeah, I can kick things off and then I'll pass it around to Caroline and Katie. So as Caroline mentioned, we've assembled this guide. It kind of came about because is like the intersection of the things we love and our identity. So this great, intersection of advertising and the LGBTQ community just seemed to make sense. So this guide came about. And if y'all want to talk about it or if you want to look at it while we're talking about it, the link is just been posted into the chat here. I think y'all can see that. It's pridebrandguide.com. If you are
putting it into the website chat.
Awesome. Thank you. So if you want to check that out, the guide is free. We intentionally made it free because we want it to be used. And we've made these 5 steps for this guide that really help walk you through just the purpose, the reason of why you're thinking about advertising during Pride. Knowing step 1 of the guide is knowing your herstory. Understanding why we celebrate Pride in the US. Where did it come from? Why is it always in June? So it dives into a little bit of the detail of, Stonewall and understanding kind of, Pride was started because of a riot kind of thing. So the guide walks you through, and I'll let Caroline and Katie walk through the rest of these steps here. But I'm sure as y'all are pulling this up on your screens, I think we have the ability to share it on our screen here as well. But we'll take you through. Awesome. Take you through a quick look through it.
Yeah, thank you, Joey. That was a nice tee up. So I'll go through this quickly because I don't want this to be, bedtime stories with Caroline. But here we try to imagine this as, like our intro says, imagine your company wants to do something for Pride. Great. This is something you can hand to your marketing department, to your designers, coming up with that idea for Pride, to give them some context to make sure you don't shoot yourself in the foot. And actually, now that I think about that, that's probably not a great expression. I'll think of a new one. So again, Joey went over the first step, which is knowing your history or herstory. We want to make sure that anyone talking about Pride is aware that Marsha P. Johnson and the other Black trans women are the 4 parents of Pride. And that's why we have her portrait right there on the first page. And that's, again, something that I've noticed brands getting a lot better at. I think it was Patagonia had some great content about Marsha P. Johnson recently. One of the stars of Pose just released like a 3-minute short film where she has the flower crown. Oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. But anyway.
Gives me some serious like Frida, like female power just vibes. I cannot get enough.
That's such a beautiful comparison. Yes, it's like Frida Kahlo meets Marsha P. Johnson meets Pose, and that's all of queer history. No, just kidding.
That's what my unused mint condition art history degree will get you.
There you go. See, it's all relevant. So once you familiarize yourself a little bit with the history of Pride, then you can go on to step 2. Waiting for the scroll. Here we go. And the rainbow flags history. know your why. So it's not enough to go, well, Pride's happening, that's why we should do something for Pride. Your company needs to have a reason to be part of the conversation. And that could be as simple as, well, our founder is LGBTQ, or we have LGBTQ employees. Cool. Ask them if they want you to do something for Pride. Or, you know, is your brand popular with the LGBTQ community? There has to be a reason. And as long as you're thoughtful about what that reason is, you'll be welcomed into the conversation. I don't know if anyone saw this recently. I won't mention the brand name, but they're a weapons company, and they changed their logo to a rainbow, and they got so much flack from it from the queer community, because it's like, did you do any research about the queer community? In general, we're not fans of weapons of mass destruction.
Like, did they not hear about Pulse? Were they just like out of the country that day, or
and
no?
From a marketing perspective, I can totally understand where they came from within their bubble of, well, yeah, we're people too. We want to celebrate our people. But you have to take a step back and look at why your brand is speaking in the Pride conversation. And if you keep going, I believe we have step 2.5 in here, or 3.5. If you don't have a reason, you don't have to participate in Pride this year. You can take some ground steps. Talk to your LGBTQ employees. Ask what you can do to be a more queer-friendly workplace. Yes, here we are. Consider not using the flag or not participating in Pride. Again, if you don't have your why, or you're not sure if showing your true colors will get you called out for rainbow washing, just don't go public yet with your Pride celebration. Add pronouns to your email signature. Maybe just go with a happy Pride on your social channels. Again, it's all about the groundwork that lays credibility for your brand. And if you're not sure how to do that, there's so many wonderful LGBTQ organizations out there whose whole purpose is to help you be a more supportive workplace, like HRC or GLAAD or any of those.
Or PowerToFly.
There you go, exactly.
Sorry for the shameless self-promotion.
No, I mean, we're talking about advertising. It's completely appropriate here.
All right, so as we go and dig further in, I'm loving this Pride Guide. This is absolutely amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us. I know we don't have a ton of time left, but I do want to highlight, as you can see in here, there are a ton of brands there that you guys have highlighted that are doing this well. Can we talk a little bit about, kind of what you see as like above and beyond? Companies or products or, instances where you're like, oh my gosh, that they blew it out of the water. This is perfection.
Yeah. Katie, I know you had some ideas.
Yeah, I just had a quick example that I saw earlier today. So the sock brand, which is like a sock brand, the sock brand Bombas, who is doing.
I wish I didn't like their socks so much.
I know they're pricey, but their mission is good. They are doing a really great campaign this year where they've worked with designers to make Pride-specific socks. They have different socks that align with the different Pride flags. You'll see in the guide there are many, and they have done a really excellent job of having diverse and intersectional representation within all of the campaign in terms of the models and the actors that are involved in that. And one thing that I found out today that I thought was amazing is they actually did the photo shoot with an all queer crew on set. So as you can go beyond just the idea and into the implementation of really involving people from the queer community, and providing employment, all of these things, helping people to get exposure is so important. Obviously, PowerToFly, this is part of what you're all about. And then beyond that, Bombas' mission is, as you buy a pair of socks, they give a pair of socks to someone in need. And for this collection, they're focusing specifically on LGBTQ plus organizations working with homeless people within the LGBTQ community. which is especially amazing given the overrepresentation of LGBTQ people in the homeless population. So it all just hangs together in a way that shows the level of thoughtfulness that went behind this Pride campaign, and really has a lot of that foundational work that Caroline was talking about really ties in closely to the company's mission and purpose, and then really walks the walk in terms of actually creating the campaign. So for me, I was just like, oh, be still my heart. Like, this is the perfect example of a company who has gone about it in a way that's really thoughtful and really makes all of those connections that we talk about within the guide.
I absolutely love that. And so much of what you're saying kind of harkens back to, like you said, things about like the Me Too movement, not just celebrating the women in front of the camera, but also encouraging and providing space for more women to be on the, behind the scenes and creating the media that we see every day. Same thing with, the Black Lives Matter movement, especially the Black Squares that were happening last year, actually a week ago. It was a situation where if you not saying something was okay, I guess, and as time went on, it was more of like a sort of seen as hedging. But if this is something that you support, be authentic about it, and if not, then be respectful and know where you don't need to go. So I absolutely love that. We have run over in time. I'm so sorry, but the recording of this whole thing will be available within about a week. I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you. This was absolutely amazing. I loved this chat. Hopefully we can have y'all back for more chat and learns and more interaction with our community. As we go, I just want to say, thanks for joining us. And last but not least, is CF hiring? Yeah.
Joey,
okay.
Take it away.
Yes. Yeah. Jump onto copacino.com. We do have, I think, open roles in most of our places across the agency. So, yeah, check us out, please.
Cool. I'll grab that link and share it with everybody in the recording post for this. So I want to say a huge thank you to each of you. This was absolutely wonderful. I hope y'all have an amazing weekend as well as a happy Pride Month.
Yeah, happy Pride. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah,
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, that draws us to a close for the day. So thank you so much, and I'll hopefully see you soon. Bye.
Bye.